Welcome to the Full Circle podcast with Julie, Glenn, and Phil. You are now tuned in to the Full Circle frequency. Hello and welcome to the Full Circle podcast. Good evening, Glenn. Good evening, Julie. And happy Christmas to everybody. Happy Christmas, Glenn. Happy Christmas, Julie. How are you both?
Hi.
Hiya there, Phil.
The same as wish for you both as well. Yeah, I'm good, thanks. How are you, Glenn?
Bless you. I'm really well, thank you, Julie, and thank you, Phil. Had a really interesting week this week. Lots going off, obviously. Christmas preparations underway, and it doesn't help having a chest infection whilst you're doing this, and you're going through something similar, aren't you, Phil?
Yeah, I'm trying to look presentable, but at the minute, yeah, chest infection as well. At the minute, today started yesterday. So, but it's going around, isn't it? So,
Yes.
So yeah, we have to muddle through somehow.
Yeah.
And that's a nice Christmas song to talk about, isn't it? Through. Yeah, okay. So we've got fantastic guests lined up for this Christmas special edition. We've got some fab guests, and they're all in the green room at the minute. They've all got the sherry on the go in the green room and chatting amongst themselves. So we're going to bring them in one at a time. So let's bring in our first guest. Now, we've had this guest with us before, but tonight she's with her partner, Claude, as well. So the last time that we had this guest on was a couple of years. She's a familiar face on the podcast when we record at the Mind, Body, Spirit in Mansfield, at the John Fretwell Centre. So we've got Ange with us from Phoenix Flames, and with Ange we've got Claude as well. So let me bring Ange and Claude into the session, and hopefully they'll be popping up on screen any moment now. Here we are.
What a beautiful name. What a beautiful collective name.
And don't they look
Hello.
beautiful?
Hello.
Good evening, good evening, Claude. How are you both?
We're good, thank you.
Marvellous.
Fab. So how's the green room going at the minute? Is it
Well, we've already talked about dipping cheesy balls in Nutella. Yeah.
Okay, let's explore that, shall we?
We've cheesy balls.
We've provided the snacks.
Oh, right. Okay.
We brought the snacks.
Brill. So the drinks are flowing. The snacks are the edibles are being edibled. So how's things for you two at the minute? How have things been? What have you got going on at the minute?
Well, we're still pretty busy, aren't we?
I mean, we've moved house this year, so we've frantically tried to de-hoard our hoarder's addiction of hoarding. So that's been very busy, and we've been very ashamed of how much we've hoarded over the last few years. But we've learnt lessons in life, so we've just been like unpacking and a bit of decorating and settling in the new house
and working hard.
Working hard, yeah.
Busy.
Yeah, I did actually. I was watching some of the adventures with Clange of your packing and unpacking,
Shameful.
We were moving at the same time, and I was thinking to myself, and I know what it feels like. I really know what it's.
Phil moved as well, didn't you? You moved this year as well.
We moved on the same. It was the same week that we moved house, so I think we were moving on the same weekend. Actually,
and it was red hot, wasn't it? It was red hot,
boiling,
sweltering. Yeah.
We were quite lucky we're still together, really, to be honest, because it was there was tension, just a little bit.
There always is. Apparently, it's worse than getting a divorce. So,
Yeah.
Well, easier, I think.
yeah.
Was it worth it?
Oh God, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
worth all that stress then, yeah?
Yeah, it definitely was. I mean, our house is what 3 times bigger than our last house,
And the gardens.
Yeah.
and the garden's huge. So we've got lots of plans for the gardens, and the cats are so much happier.
Yeah, and here comes one now.
Right
So-
on cue.
So it's definitely worth it.
Yeah. So, what's happening for you both in the future? Have you got new workshops coming up, Ange? I do believe.
I have, yes. I'm doing quite a few workshops next year. Actually, I'm doing them in a couple of places. I might even start doing them from home as well. So I do them from Just Be Wellbeing in Stapleford, and my next one is a full moon lunar diary. So it's literally giving you an everyday how to work with the moon workshop. It's a 4-week workshop, and that's from Just Be Wellbeing. I'm also doing my intuitive tarot course in Maltby in January, which starts 2 weeks into January, which is really good.
Okay.
And obviously at the end of those 3 weeks, you will intuitively know how to read the tarot.
Right. Okay. Are you doing that with Jackie Marsh then in Maltby?
I am, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I only say that because she's the only person that I know that lives in Maltby.
Oh, how did you know that, Phil? Where did you pluck that name from?
Psychic, obviously.
Yeah, psychic. Well, thank you for joining us both. I'm going to keep you here.
We've
I'm
lost
going to
Glenn as
bring.
well. Glenn's
I'm going
gone.
to bring our
What's
next.
going on?
I don't know,
Sorry,
he's disappeared. Glenn's disappeared, but I'm sure he'll be back.
Glenn's.
Yeah.
It looks like Glenn's been
Claude's got
kicked
some new
out.
music coming out next year as well, Phil.
New music. Carry on.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
So very briefly, I mean, my mum passed away earlier this year, so I recorded an album called Mother, dedicated to various themes and essences of my mum and motherhood. So that comes out on the anniversary of her death, March 25th, 2023. Because I didn't want to rush it, and it's a beautiful album, an instrumental album under my professional name, Earth Tree Healing. So I'm looking forward to honouring her and mothers out there, and it was some beautiful music. So
it made me cry.
Yeah, it made me cry.
We'll look forward to hearing more about that near the time.
Look forward to hearing that as well, actually. Claude.
Yeah.
So it's a gift that you can give to anybody else that's going through that as well, then, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really, to support other people that are going through that, or might be going through that. I'm going to bring another guest in. So Julie, obviously, I don't know where Glenn's gone. Glenn's
sure
gone off somewhere. But obviously, everybody that we've had, everybody here tonight has been a guest with us on the podcast. Now, this guest came on a few months ago and told us all about his life journey into paganism and becoming a pagan priest. So let's bring in our old friend Luke Jones, or very often known as Viking Luke. So I'm just going to bring him back in, and hopefully is going to pop up with us anytime soon.
Yeah, he likes my cheesy balls too.
Oh, I'm sure he did.
That's it. And here
he is. Let's wait for him to connect.
There we go. Is that me? Have you got me?
Here. Here's Luke.
We have you online.
Sound, visual.
Good evening, Luke. Can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me?
Lovely.
Yeah.
How's Luke at the minute? How are you?
Cold, but okay.
Cold, but okay. I'm loving.
Hey, Julie.
Sorry. I'm loving the backdrop, Luke.
Yeah.
It's a tree.
Nice. Like that.
There we go. And then above we've got. Hang on, let me hold this. We've got ravens above.
Oh.
Oh wow.
Play.
Is that in shot?
We're liking
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And Lord.
There we go. And then we have slightly out of shot. I've got candles going
Yeah,
as a source of heat.
of course. Yeah.
Nice, nice. So how have you been, Luke, since we saw you last?
Where did we see? Good. We'll go with good.
Good, good. And
Busy.
you've got, okay, well, that's good. That's good. Work's busy then. And you've got plenty of stuff coming up. I know that I'm coming on Wednesday.
Oh, fantastic.
On the 21st. I'm going to pop along to the shack to see you for that.
Bring a cup or drinking vessel.
A drinking, right? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll bring myself something for that. So tell us what you're doing on Wednesday, Luke. What are you doing?
So Wednesday is the winter solstice, which goes by many names, and the name I choose to use is Yule, which is the most common name for it. And it's my job to tell you why that's important.
Okay. Would you like to tell us why it's important, Luke?
Why it's important.
Oh, since you ask. So, the key feature of Yule, the winter solstice, I don't know what this hand motion is, but there we go. The key thing about Yule is it is the shortest day on the longest night. Yes. So that means from that point on, so from the 22nd of December, so from Yule on, the night of 21st into the 22nd, everything gets a little bit better, a little bit brighter, a little bit stronger every day, right up until its sister celebration, which is Litha, the summer solstice. And there's a constant battle between the Holly King and the Oak King, between the summer solstice and the winter solstice, where one regains power and then the other regains power. Then one regains power, then the other regains power. And I'm going to tell you a fantastic story on Wednesday of which one it is.
Okay.
Wow, we're going to be held in suspense there. Thank you, Luke.
My last interview was at Litha, and I did exactly the same to you then as well.
And Claude, I'm assuming that you'll be doing something on Wednesday as well.
Of course we will. It's Yule. Why wouldn't we?
So what are your plans?
We're actually celebrating with the Coven on Sunday because it's a bit more difficult to get them all together on a Wednesday evening when they're still working and stuff.
Yeah.
But we will be doing our own little ritual on Wednesday, you know, reflecting on the times that we've had this year and letting go of the bad and welcoming in the good, which is what Yule's about also. You know, it's all about that balance. It's all about that reflecting and all about that knowing what's coming, basically, and believing that the sun will rise again, because it will.
Yes, that's fascinating. Brilliant.
It is.
And I'll be making my famous vegetarian chili.
Yes, Claude's making her famous vegetarian chili, and there will be lots of meat
and lots of toilet roll available as well.
Okay, for the chili. That doesn't bode well for your cooking, does it? But
no, it's actually very good, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah,
it is.
Not bragging, all right, but it's a nice chili.
It's very warming, very hearty and healthy as well.
Yeah. So that's with the Coven on Sunday. Yeah. We will also have lots of cheese and wine and mead, and it'll be a good time to spend having lots of merriment and eating and drinking and being festive, like any good pagan should be.
Yes, definitely. Right, I'm going to bring. Sorry, Julie, carry on.
Wednesday and Sunday sorted, and Glenn's back on now. So hi, Glenn.
I am sorry, I've had some technical issues here. I've had to shut down the PC and log back on, so apologies. I've missed everything that you've said, so I do apologise.
That's all right, Glenn. Don't do it again.
I won't. Got my telling off.
Right, I am going to bring in another double act. So
you're in for trouble.
another double act. So this guest we had on several months ago, and she came to talk to us about Earth, Sky, Heart Space, and the meditations that she does and her journey of healing. And tonight she's with us with her partner, Dan. So let's bring in the lovely May Boroff. So I've invited her back into the group. She'll pop up. They'll pop up in a minute.
Wouldn't surprise me if she turns up dancing or something.
Or naked, knowing May.
Yeah, or naked, whatever suits.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she probably heard that.
I don't care.
They're here.
Hey,
Hello.
hi May. Hi Daniel.
You okay?
Good evening, May. Good evening, Daniel. How are you
Good
both?
evening. Yeah, good, thank you.
Pleasure to see you, by the way, the other week.
Yes.
It was a joy to just be in Glastonbury and somebody turn up that was just it just made that evening was just so special. And I'm still thinking about the White Spring Temple inside there was just, wasn't it? Just something else.
Yeah.
But your experience, May, in there on Sunday was must have been even more something else.
Yes, yeah. I came away from there just absolutely just zinging. I felt it. I felt the energy of. I've heard people that have gone in the plunge pool in the springs, and people have made friends in there.
Yeah.
By going in there together. I've heard of a story of somebody that met a woman that was on a healing journey with cancer, and it's just a place of such great meaning. And I got a sneeze coming. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Christmas sneeze. Yes, it is. I felt change for life. Something subtle, but something powerful.
Don't know many people that would do that now at the end of November.
I know.
So that must have been exhilarating, and that sense of freedom to do that liberation, it just must have come alongside with that sense of just pure liberation to do that.
It is on lots of levels. Just like wild swimming.
Yeah.
In its essence, swimming in the sea, swimming in lakes and rivers, you do feel an ultimate freedom.
Yeah.
It just can't be taken away from you.
No.
It does feel wonderful. And so, to have that moment.
Next year, I'm there. I'm in it with you next year.
Yeah.
We all heard you say that.
I've said it now. It's set in stone, isn't it?
Yeah.
The back though, Phil.
Yes.
Photos from the back, Phil, not from the front.
You're technically not allowed to take photos in there. That was very naughty of me.
Yeah.
I couldn't miss the opportunity.
It's not like you to not be naughty, Dan.
Wow.
Yeah. So what's new for May and Daniel? Is anything new coming up in the new year? Have you got any plans for Earth, Sky, Heart Space? Or
yes, I have got plans. So I'm seeing 2023 as a resurgence for me. Of course, as you know, I've had a big break and gone through a lot of deep self-healing, and had to find new ways of healing as well and dig deep. So the upshot of that is I'm feeling like it really is time to start sharing the Earth Sky meditation again. There couldn't be a time that called on it more to me. The state of the world, and I really want to be a person that's contributing to the better portion of a sense of harmony in the collective consciousness, and a sense of inner strength. And when we do this meditation, we receive a healing and a blessing for ourselves. And I and we send that out all around us for whoever needs that. And I think a lot of people are needing healing right now. So
absolutely, yeah.
Are you travelling around at the moment as well, May and Dan? Are you still in Scotland, or have you moved on from there? I've seen you here, there, and everywhere on Facebook.
I wasn't in Scotland.
You weren't. I'd lost
I just had this feeling like I wanted to share all my lovely holiday photos from all my adventures in Orkney and the Outer Hebrides and the Inner Hebrides.
They were from a while back.
Yes.
That's all right. It looked really nice. So
yes, it is, and I hope it inspires you to go and maybe go to Orkney sometime. I think you'd love it.
No, there was a song that I heard the other day from the Hebrides.
Oh yeah.
I can't think what it was called.
Donald, wear your trousers.
Is it Ebuday, or I think it might be called Ebuday, which is the Latin name for Hebrides.
Oh.
But if you look at that, it's a song by, I think Enya covered it.
Oh, lovely.
Oh, wow.
Right, yeah, remember
And
that.
it is absolutely stunning. But they used to sing the song. The ladies used to sing this song particularly while they were treating and cleaning traditional kilts and things like that around the table.
Yeah,
and it just sounds phenomenal.
Yeah, they all sit on the table and they've got the fabric and they just kind of work at it with their hands. I think it's felting. I think they're making the fabric lock up.
Yes, I think that's what it is.
I
do think that's what it is. So listen for that. Ebudae. It's Ebudae. It's spelt, and the song Enya does a version of it, but it's an older. It's a really old song that would have just been sung, really. So have a look for that.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to the green room and bring in another guest.
There's one here.
Oh look! Got one with Julie.
Yeah.
The whole time that
20 years old. He's only 20 years old. This one.
the whole time he was grooming, our cat was grooming off to the side, so I could see them in stereo. I could see both grooming simultaneously.
Brilliant.
Our cat's Rambo's on the floor grooming.
Really? Yeah. They like to get in on these Zoom meetings, don't they? Definitely.
I've shut the dog out because there wouldn't be enough room for me and him on the bed.
Oh.
Oh well, mine's gone up. Mine's gone up to bed, out of the way. So
Really?
Yeah.
Really nice.
My
I am gonna.
My
Sorry.
cats are in spirit.
Sorry.
So if you see any grey spirit cats walking behind me,
Oh, there you go.
that's who it'll be.
Right. Okay. I'm going to bring another guest in who also fantastic and so interesting to have on as a full episode, author as well. But we'll bring in our old friend Rick Paul. So I'm just going to bring him into the main session. We're going to have to make sure that we're a little bit quicker with Rick, because I don't like to think that I've left Richard on his own sat in the green room. He'll be drunk by the time we get him in. So here's Rick, just waiting for him to connect.
We in? Are we here, Mum? Hey, Mother?
We can hear you.
Hi, Rick.
Are you
You
there,
all right?
Mother? Where's your
Good
hat
evening.
on, Rick?
Do you know what? I think I'm actually going to put it.
It's fabulous. You don't need to put it on, but it is fabulous.
Ah.
I love
Really
it.
warm, and it is keeping my ears warm.
Brilliant.
Nice, nice. I expect to see that on your next live for when you're doing meetings, Rick. That's all right.
You're going to be sadly disappointed, I think.
So Rick, how have you been? It's been a while since we spoke to you, but how have you been? Have you got anything new coming up in the new year?
We've just been discussing at the back in the back area there. It's been a fabulous year, just an incredible experience, and there isn't a lot of stuff that I can say, oh, I regret doing or anything like that. But it has just all come to a stop. You know, I was warned that, you know, this time of the year is quiet, but for me it's gone from being sort of warp speed, nothing to do. So a lot of the work that I'm doing on with myself really is just filling in my headspace with something constructive. So it's finding something to do that's constructive, and basically keep myself occupied, because I have such a low boredom tolerance. You know, but it's one of those that there's nothing to do. So what do you do when you've just got an head full? I haven't got any answers to that one.
Okay. You're busy, so that's good.
Yeah, it's
been busy.
Oh.
Still there?
Thought somebody was going to say something.
Yeah, it's been busy. I mean, I've got the new. I'm trying to think what the proper terminology is for it. The second edition of my book is winging its way to me, and I shall be advertising that again. So the thought processes around me at the moment is writing again, putting something together, because my passion is really helping people deal with mental health issues and things like that, and helping people structure. People that have got a mindset like mine.
Is that the title as well?
Really.
Is that the title as well, Rick? Is it going to be called Winging Its Way, or?
That might be volume 2.
Right. Okay. Okay. I'll look out for that. I'll look out for Winging Its Way then, when it arrives.
Yeah. Well, you see, when I worked for the prison service, I was going to do an autobiography based on my life up to that point, and I was going to call it "I Did It All for Shits and Giggles."
What a perfect book title, though. Shits and Giggles. Right. I'm going to bring. So Poor Richard is sat on his own. He's sat on his own in the green room at the minute. So before he gets too inebriated on that sherry that you've provided, Julie, in the green room, I'm going to bring our next guest in. So Richard is, silly me, I've already said his name now, but this is a fairly new friend to the podcast, and we met Richard at the Manchester Mind, Body, Spirit with White Light events. And what a person, what an absolute treasure of a person. So let's bring in Richard, the urban warlock. We'll just give him a couple of minutes to jump in.
Put his drink down.
Put that sherry down, Richard.
Hi, Richard.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Good evening, Richard. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you guys?
We're all good. We're all good. How's the green room been for everybody? Have you been? I know that you've been talking about cheesy balls and.
Well, yeah.
Standard.
How are you, Richard? How's life at the minute? And I've seen that you've got all sorts going on next year that you've got planned for. But
yeah,
I'll let you tell us.
Yeah, so looking really busy for next year. So feeling a bit tired now, ready for a bit of a break over Christmas, and then it all kicks off again in January with some events. So yeah, I've got loads of events booked for next year, which I'm really looking forward to. Continuing with the kind of paranormal stuff as well. I've actually got a entity removal tomorrow, and then Sunday I'm filming with the guys from Look Into the Light Paranormal at somebody's house, doing an investigation there. So yeah, it's going to be a busy year, and then getting married in June as well, which can't wait. Yeah.
Nice. So where's the wedding happening, Richard? Is that quite local?
Fairly, yeah. So I mean, I'm based Chesterfield. So what we do, we're kind of splitting it. So we're having a hand fasting, just the kind of two of us, and then we're going to the Bakewell Registry office with a small group of kind of friends and family.
Lovely.
And then off on honeymoon.
I love Bakewell. It's absolutely gorgeous there. It's so picturesque.
Yeah, it's beautiful there. So yeah, so really looking forward to that. And we've been trying to do it on a budget as well, to be honest, because we didn't want it to like drag out, because you know how these things are. Sometimes you get engaged and then you think, oh, you know, let's save up the money, and before you know it can never happen. So nail it down. Let's get it done.
Oh, right.
Bro, so what's your plan for your hand fasting, Rich? Is that something that you're just doing? There's just the two of you and a celebrant, and what's your plans for that? Where are you going to do that?
So we found a spot. It's basically under a tree in a field, on the way to Buxton. So we did some scouting around, looking for some outdoor places. We're not going for an official celebrant. It's my partner's best friend. She's going to do it, so it's going to be very intimate, very personal between us. So we've still got to try and find some time to get everything sorted for that, to be honest, and what words we're going to use and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Can't wait for that. So good. It seems like everybody that I talked to recently, we've all got new things happening in the new year, and I don't know about yourselves, but I feel, for me personally, I feel like I've had that time of being pulled back over the last couple of months. And then moving forward now, and I know that for me, like literally after Christmas, I've got new things starting, and I know that's now, I understand now that's why I was being pulled back, and that's why things have stopped, and I've stopped doing certain things. But I can see now that there was a plan there that I wasn't aware of. But is anybody else experiencing that they've been pulled back slightly? Or
we well, more me than we got quite a lot of big announcements coming in 2023. Kind of watch this space. Keeping it a bit cards to my chest at the moment, but I've got a big announcement coming.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Shall we?
Sounds intriguing.
Say again, Glenn.
You say it sounds intriguing. Can you give us a little more hints there, Luke?
Yes, I'm involved.
Okay, that's a good hint.
Love
it.
Luke, I will speak to you on Wednesday then. Glenn, I'll try and get a bit more gossip from that.
In all fairness, Phil, even my mum doesn't know. She's tried to get it out of me.
Oh, well, I'm not your mum. You can tell me.
Yeah, okay.
Might as well be, Phil.
I don't mind telling you, I've got some things starting. I start on the 11th of January, but I actually start my official training to be a funeral celebrant and wedding celebrant. So I'll start that on the 11th of January, start my official training for that. And then I've been looking for later on in the year, been looking at training that actually is happening in Glastonbury as well. So that looks quite good. But I start that in January. So really passionate about supporting people through funerals, but not obviously, clearly not a religious funeral, but but alternative funerals and memorials, really. So that's me for January.
Good.
So with Phoenix Flames, we have a lot of new products in the pipeline at the moment.
Yeah.
Which we're working on at the moment. So we've got a lot more. We're about to put out some bath spells that people can create for themselves, because I do believe that to put energy into a spell, you have to put it in yourself. It's a waste of time me doing that for someone. They've got to put their own intent into it. But we'll give all the products to be able to do that, you see.
Yeah.
And make them quite simple for people. And we've got some new incenses coming. We've got some new candles coming. We've got quite a lot coming, actually. No more new sprays yet, though. I know how much you love my sprays, Phil.
Oh, I do. Bitch be gone. Can't beat it.
Yeah, that was love that.
You can't make it quick enough. Seriously, can't make it quick enough.
Great name.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
It
bitches
is.
in this world. You can't make it quick enough.
So little Ange calls it. She calls it the spiritual mace. Doesn't
Yeah,
she?
it pretty much is. And if it doesn't work, you spray them in the face. That's what we say. Or just chug the bottle at them. Either way, it's going to work.
Yeah, I can't get enough of the natural incenses, Ange, that you make with Phoenix Flames. They're just
no. We've just made Athena. Athena's on new one.
Athena, right? Okay.
Yeah, we've just made Athena.
Okay.
Yeah, they are lovely.
Cool.
Wow.
So I've got some questions to pose.
Ooh.
So I don't know if you're ready. Because they aren't too deep, so don't worry. So the first question that I wanted to ask everybody was something that you are thankful for in the past year, because we're coming up to a new year now, aren't we? So something that is there anything that you feel that you're thankful for from 2020?
2020?
No, 2022.
Moved on since then.
Yeah, that's a while ago. 2020.
Behind the times, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm personally really thankful for all the support I've had going through grief and the spiritual community and the wellbeing shows and things, because that really has helped me so much. So that's absolutely, thank you, everybody. That's been wonderful. Yeah. And I thank all those people for helping her with her grief as well, because she don't listen to me when her mum comes through. I do. She don't believe it's her mum when I do. I just don't listen to you.
Too close to home, Ange. That's what it is.
In it.
Yeah.
No, I'm grateful for the amount of returned customers and the amount of business we've had this year. It's just been amazing. You know, to know that I'm not, especially with my tarot, I don't really have to advertise for it anymore. It's just constant. And it's really nice to get a constant flow of customers. And especially for Phoenix Flames, having so much great feedback for Phoenix Flames has been great. It's been really good, been really positive this year.
Yeah, that's good. Anybody else?
I'll go then. Yeah,
go on, Glenn.
I'm really grateful for family, friends, and the amount of lessons that this year has provided for me. It's allowed me to celebrate those lessons, that wisdom, and also to reflect inwardly as well. And having those spaces, like you were saying earlier, Phil, over the last couple of months, there's been little gaps, and my guides have brought those in definitely, because they always do that when there's something about to emerge. And so I can feel that energy moving, and next year's going to be a busy one. So in terms of this year, I'm very grateful for understanding the lessons, sending that gratitude out to the universe, and also getting to know myself on a deeper level, and holding my resilience with that. So yeah, very grateful indeed.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, Glenn, being grateful for lessons, because that's what helps us grow as a person.
Definitely.
So yeah, I would say the same, and also support and communication and new perspectives, some deep talks with Dan, and yeah, I'd say love and support from community and family, and I'm also very grateful for where I live and being so close to the forest, because that's really important to me. Very healing.
It's gratitude, isn't it, as well? Gratitude for what we have in our lives, and sometimes you have a lesson that's not necessarily one you want to learn from, but it makes you reflect on all the good things that are there that we sometimes take for granted. That's what I've learned this year. But a really challenging few months, and it's made me stop and reflect on a lot of things that I've been doing or not doing, and to change it really and grow.
It sounds a bit like a suck up, but I'm really grateful for what you three do with the podcast. I really appreciate these podcasts and interviews that you do. Thanks.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Luke.
That's nice. We only do what we do to bring people together and do this sort of thing and share the message that everybody else wants to share and provide that platform for the people like yourselves really as well, and bring community the community together. I mean, we don't do it for monetary wealth or anything like that. We don't really, we're not earning anything from doing this, but we do it because we love it.
I know you are.
Yeah, and I think that really comes out in your interviews as well, like your fascination and your interest.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we learn so much from listening to people like yourselves, Ange, Claude, May, Dan, Rich, Rick, Luke. We learn so much from listening just to your stories and what you've been through in your paths. We learn so much, and we are so grateful that we are able to do that and have people on to talk about what they do. Dan's next. We've got Dan on at some point, Glenn.
Oh wow.
As well.
Yeah. One of the biggest laughs I had was this year, and I did a video interview with you guys, and I was just in fully armored up. Fully leather armor, and you guys are just like, yeah, this is normal. Like, yeah, normal. It is. I'm just in armor.
Not phased at all.
Well, when you see aliens in your own house in the conservatory, and old men standing at the top of your stairs, and dogs running about from the world of spirit,
yeah,
it's pretty normal.
In all fairness, Glenn, I know where you live, so they really are aliens.
And there's a nut house behind where I live, so you know.
Nut house
behind.
A nut house, yeah.
I'm not sure that we can say that anymore, Glenn.
No, I'm not.
I said it.
Anyway, moving on. Let's quickly move on from that, shall we?
Next question then, Bill.
Let's. So Rick and Rich, I'll go with a new question for you both. What is something that you might be letting go of in 20? No, we've done that one, haven't we? What are you going to bring in? What is something that you are bringing in for yourself in 2023? I'm not going to talk about New Year's resolutions. Let's talk about something that we're going to bring in for ourselves.
Rich is on mute.
I'll
actually. There you go, Rick.
Oh yeah, I'll step in. I think the thing that I'm going to be bringing in next year is a lot more self-respect than I've previously allowed myself to have over the previous years. I've prepared myself over the time for certain disappointments and learned how to deal with disappointments over my life. And what I've learned this year is, with the support of the people that I've encountered, is to remove that sort of expectation of not quite making it. So there's upping the level of self-respect, widening where I work as well, and listening to you guys there talking about what you're grateful for. One of the biggest things that I'm grateful for is the opportunities that other people have provided me for this year to actually hear my voice. Now, as anybody who knows me knows that I can talk the iron leg off a donkey, but I've actually been supported to be able to do that this year, and have the audience to be able to do that. So there's been the opportunity to stand up on stage and do these spiritual readings, and but also reach a wider audience with the journey of my story. I mean, you mentioned earlier on about the book titles, and what I actually wanted to call the book, joking aside, was From Black and White to Colour. Because for those of you that don't know my background, I was a prison officer for 12 years. And it's been such a journey to come from that black and white mentality where everything fits into its neat little boxes. And I could cope with that, to coming now into this sort of colourful mode now. And now what I'm looking at doing is harnessing that. But if this year's taught me anything, it's that you need an element of all of it. So whereas I've tried over the last sort of 9 years since I left the job to keep that side of me out of it, I've encountered people and experiences this year that have pushed the buttons. So there's been that other side of me that's had to come out there, that discipline. So it's having the support from people, but also stepping away from the ones that aren't so good for me. So for me, it's been a massive learning curve this year. So as we go into 2023, I'm just basically looking to expand my reach, because I know Spirit are working with me. I know my guides are expanding. I know I'm working on a different thing. Don't truthfully know what it is. I'd love to sit here and say to you there's a grand plan, but I'm ready for it, and I'm really looking forward to it. Lots booked already, and no doubt in my mind that I'm going to be traveling quite a long way. So bring it on. That's all I've got to say to it all. Bring it on.
Fantastic.
Go on, Rick. So me and Claude next year, we're actually getting officially married. We've been hand-fasted for a long time now.
What year?
How many years, Claude?
I know it was April the 1st. Was it 2011?
Yeah, she's actually got it right for once in her life.
Yeah.
So we've actually been hand-fasted for
Perimenopausal,
11 years plus now.
Yeah.
But we've never gone and got that official piece of paper that you need to prove that you're officially, in the eyes of the law, married.
I mean, the thing of the experience this year, life just going like that in the blink of an eye, it really made us think about probably more legal commitments.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, if anything happened to me, I need to get my work pension and things like that. And
yeah,
we are spiritually hand-fasted. That's good enough for us, but we wanted to get a legal, and have a little knees up at the same time.
Yeah, it's always an excuse for a party and a honeymoon.
Yeah,
really.
That's lovely news. Fantastic.
That is nice news. And whenabouts is that going to happen?
That's September. So we've done it in between. We've got about a 2 or 3 week break where we're not doing anything in September in shows and stuff. So we've left it clear so we can actually go on a 2-week honeymoon and get married. And there's no actual shows of the people that we love and care about that's going to be there. So
September, did you say?
Yeah.
Right, Julie, Glenn, remember we've got a wedding in June to go to then. And then September.
You're welcome to come to our evening in June in September. We'll put you on the group.
Hey, we'll record it as a podcast.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. What's going to happen that evening? There's a collection of various different religions and people and types of people that's all going to clash in one evening. So it's going to be fun.
Anybody else? Would anybody else want to talk about what they are bringing in for themselves in the new year, 2023?
Yeah, I'm feeling really good about 2023. With a note on what I'm leaving behind. I think I'm leaving behind a kind of the muddiness and need for deeper healing. And with that deeper healing that I've found, I'm going to be exploring that more and being able to offer that. Whilst I am currently studying the Peruvian medicine wheel of the Cairo people. And it's been a very astonishing time of learning these beautiful healing tools that are just so direct for dealing with like deep emotional trauma and pain in a very beautiful way.
Good.
It's not easy, but it's very beautiful. So I take this everywhere where I go now, and I've got this beautiful medicine pouch. This is my mesa. It's a Hampi mesa, and this is a tradition that's been passed on for thousands of years from Peru. And I'm lucky enough to find a teacher that's in this lineage. Joe Malloy is a really great healer, and that's the person that inspired me to take this medicine path. And so by November, I'll have completed the medicine wheel once, and through that, I'll pick up lots of different additional healing tools. But I'm ready to go now, really. So I will be bringing in healing into the new year with people with this beautiful tradition. And also, I'm feeling ready to create my 5th batch of dream medicine, my dream elixir, which is a spray, and it's made of many essential oils, and it's just a real game changer if you can't dream, can't remember your dreams, or you feel stuck with where you're dreaming, or you struggle with maybe night terrors or nightmares. And what it brings in is an element of being able to kind of deal with your nightmares very easily and effortlessly without any fear. You get a good night's sleep and a great visual landscape in your dreams as well, which usually involves a lot more countryside and trees and flowers and butterflies. And I've had a lot of good feedback from it, but I have to be in the right place to make it. And I've gathered the best quality materials that I can find, and going to employ a few magical methods in that making.
Wow.
So.
And will that be available for sale now, or is that something that you're just making for yourself? Or
I will try not to have too much of it myself, and the intention is to share it and to I'll probably sell it on my Etsy stall, or I'll have to find a nice channel. Really, it's so super potent.
I'd be interested to try that.
Oh yes,
because I do try mugwort and blue lotus flower. Tried that. I bought the oil and the blue lotus petals as well.
Yes.
From Sons of Asgard the other week. Sorry, Ange.
Do you know what? I absolutely love the Sons of Asgard shop because it's what I want. It's really what I want, but I want it with a lot more herbal incense in there because I don't really like their herbal incense at all.
Have you seen Have you seen the new store out on the high street, or did you see the one in?
Yeah, at the bank. At the bank, yeah. But they've not got enough herbal incense in there for me.
They've also got a workshop down at the Red Brick Building or somewhere near that.
Yeah, they have.
So yeah, they're doing really well for themselves, those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
love they do.
Shop. Love it.
But Fenix Flames is better incense, though, doesn't it, Phil?
Yes.
Yeah. We were going to fall off the windowsill because we thought it was next to us, but it's actually in the other room.
In the other room, but I really enjoyed being in your Anubis.
That's a great one.
Your Sacred Fire.
Yeah.
Full moon. I really like to watch the embers of the fire as much as I like watching the fire nowadays.
Yeah.
So it's a really nice time to sprinkle incense on the embers of the fire. I mean, it's an opportune moment, all of that.
It is, because if you got something with you training the medicine wheel, if you took something like our spirit journey and you sprinkled some of that on the embers and actually asked questions as you're sprinkling that on it, it'd give you answers.
Yeah.
By looking at the embers, you'd see pictures fly up and stuff.
You're so great, and it's really great. You've got so much information. It's really, really helpful.
And Angie's workshops are just, I don't know, we both said, didn't we, when we were at the Mind Body Spirit Gland, that we could have just stood and listened to Ange for forever with like the protection, this spell casting and protection and drawing the wheel and all of that sort of stuff. Just absolutely fascinating.
And also we enjoyed how you brought the one of the members of the audience, the little girl, and you involved her in it.
I saw that.
I thought that was so cute, and it was brilliant how you interacted with her, and she felt so special.
Yeah,
So,
I had to give her that one, you know. She had to have that one. That was hers. She took it home with her. I gave it to her.
oh, she was gorgeous.
She was lovely. She did well, didn't she? Bless her.
Yeah.
Well, there was no nerves with her or anything, was there? So you put her at her ease straight away.
Yeah.
I love giving those talks, but shall I let you in on a secret? I never ever know what I'm going to say until I walk into that room.
Well, then you can read the room.
Plan my talks. Never plan them.
Channel it through.
Suppose you read the room and then take it from there.
Yeah, pretty much.
You took it to the sigil group, didn't you? The witch factory master. Somebody asked you if you could take that on because the original person wasn't there to offer it, and and you gave me some really good insights as well.
Yeah, I literally got asked an hour before I was to do that talk, and they said, "Can you do it?" I was like, "Yeah, I could do that." Just walked in and did it.
It's inspirational.
I mean, Liz and Ian from Lizzie and Events, they just drop me into talks like nobody's business. If anybody lets them down, they just sometimes come up to me and say, "Can you do a talk on oils and the different smells and what they do?" And I'm like, yeah, all right. Just chuck me in.
Okay.
Chuck me to the wolves.
And
love it.
You should have dropped a phrase that I've been using lately when I talk to friends. Mainly people who aren't of our kind yet. I'll say, listen to the witch. The witch knows what they're on about. You need that as well.
Listen to the witch. Yeah, I like that.
I also go with, shut up, the witch is talking.
Richard.
Yes.
Got to be done, isn't it, sometimes? Shut up, the witch is talking and they know what they're talking about. Yeah.
Yes.
So, Richard, I don't know if you're just very quiet or if you just cannot get a word in edgeways.
I know they're a noisy bunch, aren't they?
So, what about yourself, Rich? Anything? Is there anything that you're bringing in for yourself in 2022?
Yeah, I think
23.
23, yeah.
Oh my lord! I'll bring in 2021 in a minute. I'll the latter.
Counting backwards.
I am. Going back.
Yeah, let's not go backwards. I think bringing in a bit more confidence and self-belief, because obviously I've not been doing this as long as other people, in regard to the work that I do. And this last year has been a bit of it's been a big learning curve. So starting off on the event circuit and just building up my confidence and that self-belief. And I really want to kind of take that forward now, because there have been moments where you do doubt yourself, especially with the mediumship work. You know, you do question if your imagination, or you're just kind of going along with stuff. I feel now that I'm at a point now where I do 100% trust in my guide and what's coming through, and that's started to build that confidence. So I'm really looking at bringing more of that in to carry me through, because I'm going to be fairly busy, especially on the event scene next year, which I'm really looking forward to. But I'm going to need that to kind of carry me through, and just kind of thinking about things that we're grateful for, stuff like that. I suppose it is getting my foot in the door on the event circuit, I think, I can't remember if I said this to you guys in when we were at Manchester or when I did the podcast, but just getting on that first couple really then opened up the doors to other ones, because you couldn't meet a nicer bunch of people. You really couldn't. And being somebody who's always been a little bit of a black sheep and a little bit of an outsider when it comes to people, I was almost overwhelmed at how friendly everybody's been. And it's beautiful. It's such a beautiful thing. And, you know, I wouldn't be here tonight if it wasn't for getting my foot on the, you know, in the door on the events thing. Because, you know, like I said, I met you guys at Manchester just at random, really, just because I was set up next to Adele, and you were going to do an interview with her. So yeah, I think what everybody else has said, I don't know why, and a few people have said this to me as well. There's something about next year. There's something stirring for next year. On a personal level, I think it's going to be a good year for me. But I feel like on a wider level as well, it's going to be good. And a bit like Rick said, it's like it's almost like we're not. They're not letting us know yet. But I don't know. It just feels like there's something stirring in the water. Put it that way. So I'm looking forward to it.
I think that will become quite present quite soon, Rich, as well. I mean, I know I've just talked about me earlier, and that's what I was feeling, that there was something stirring, there was something coming for me, and then all of a sudden it's there and happening. So
now it's interesting you say that, actually, because earlier on today, I was actually listening to the podcast that you did with Rick, which would have been a while ago now. And you were talking about something happening in December, coming up in December. So it's just a bit weird that you've said something's going to happen soon, something's going to be revealed soon. And way back when you did the interview with Rick, that you mentioned about December. So it's almost like, I don't know, just triggered me when you said that.
Oh, right, okay. I'll have a listen back to that.
Yeah.
Actually, then.
I think there's a really, just to build on that, something coming in for 2023. I think a lot of this, because we've had to dig so deep for the last 2 years and during COVID, I really feel like a lot of us have done a lot of work to kind of unshroud out in the light. So individually, everybody's lights are shining brighter, and it's almost like, what could the technical term be for this? I think there's starting to be such an expansion of everybody's individual energies that it's starting to meet at the edges of other people's expanded energies, and it's just filling the air with a greater sense of that bright light that we all carry inside. I think I've had a conversation with an interesting lady called Katie Holland, who teaches awakened belly dancing, and we both agreed that this could be something that might be happening, that's going to come in more.
Definitely. I feel personally there's a call for love and a call for healing next year. So all us light workers on here, we are feeling that calling, getting us ready to, like you say there, mate, to embrace our own light, but also the gift of having the light is to give it away to others. And there's going to be a lot of people, I feel personally, that are going to gravitate towards people like ourselves, for that sort of inspiration, for that healing, that need. Whereas at one time they would have felt quite embarrassed or a little bit shy about coming forward, but because it's more acceptable nowadays, they're just going to naturally gravitate towards us all that are light workers. So I completely agree with you there, mate.
Yeah, I think everybody that's working in healing and self-healing, not necessarily offering healing to other people, but working on self-healing as well. So I think it's this radiance is much more stabilized, so it's a lot easier for people to find and
trust. Like an illumination, isn't it, May? We're illuminating our energies and our light,
so that we make a kind of I call it like a matrix. So we were all forming a matrix together. We were all vectors on this big matrix net that's just getting stronger and stronger.
Raising vibrations.
Yeah,
It's an inside job.
it is.
Yeah.
I recently came across something very similar, which was it's an amusing story, but the point still stands how we're all coming together. Because one of my friends, who remain nameless, but his phrase is, "Oh, that's your thing. I don't believe that." But he'll still ask me 400 questions, and every time I'll give him an answer, it's, "Oh, wow, that's really interesting, but I don't believe it." And, "Oh, that's really interesting, but oh, okay, that's your thing." However, said friend who doesn't believe has since asked me to bless 3 of his vehicles, cleanse his house, and he's been to 2 of my rituals, but he doesn't believe. So yes, we are all connecting in. The very first words that person said to me when I met them, I was actually doing something spiritual for one of his friends in common, and I got it. It's when I had the little red van. I got out the van, and he went, "Oh, you look like us." I said, "Well, what were you expecting?" He says, "Oh, I was expecting
Like
some
us.
sort of druid, healer, shaman thing." I'm like, "Well, yeah. What do you want?"
It's like when I tell people that I'm a witch. You know, they think that I'm going to have a pointed nose and a wart and wear a pointed hat and stuff, and it's like, no, I'm not.
Not in public
having said
anyway.
that, though, I am sat in a purple velvet shirt, so it doesn't really get much more witchy.
Luke, what was that story that you said about being in the petrol station?
Oh, fantastic! Yes. So, my wife has a name for me. She now called me the Witch Collector because I drive up and down the country for work, and wherever I go, I seem to find or be found by other pagans or spiritual people. So I'm using the term witch broadly. When I was working up north in Aberdeen not that long ago, the job itself was horrendous. It took me 9 hours to drive up there. I did what I had to do. Everything went wrong. I booked a hotel and I was shattered. The next day, I did a very un-me thing, and I got in the truck and I started driving, and I realised I had very little diesel. This isn't me. I'm normally on top of that kind of thing. I've never run out in my life, so it's not a thing, especially when I'm working. So wherever it was, whatever the price was, the next place I had to get diesel. It was non-negotiable. Pulls into this place which looked like a museum. I wasn't entirely sure if it was still open. And it was a genuine filling station. Gets out. So my concerns were of this world. So I goes in, "Hello, do you take fuel cards? And can I have diesel now, please?" And the very nice lady behind the counter said to me, "Oh, you're the warrior witch from my dream." Like, that's fantastic, but do you sell diesel? At which point I sorted all the fuel out. She's rung her friend. Her friend's come over to the store, and she's drawn a picture of her friend's dream, and it was me. They're also on my page now too.
Wow.
So yeah, when we're off air or face to face, I'll tell you a story of a similar sort of thing that happened in Wales. I literally walked into her, knocked her over. So yeah, I've become the Witch Collector.
The Witch Collector. Viking Luke, the Witch Collector. That's really good. That could be a film. It sounds like a film.
Good. Sounds like a service that you could provide to the community.
Yeah.
Bring out
the last time it happened,
witches.
it didn't. The last time that happened, Glenn, it didn't end well for the witches.
Well, it did. Well, you could turn it around now, couldn't you? You could do the opposite.
Yeah. So I'm going to move on to the next the next question. So I don't know if Rick, if you want to start us with this one or not, you can pass and come back to it. But What's the best piece of advice you've been given this year? Anything. If anything.
Trust. And the worst one, and the worst one that I still struggle to deal with is patience. It's all coming. When I train to do my NLP, if anybody has the opportunity to go and have a conversation with Philip Underwood, he's frustrating and enlightening in equal measure. And he said to me, I've often had instances where I've been stood in the post office queue, and I get behind somebody that is the slowest person in the world, and he always calls his inner being Little Philip. So he said, Little Philip, he says, today you are learning patience. And I went, yeah, but I don't do patience. But what I've found this year is every time I say I don't do patience and I can't wait, I'm in more situations where I have to be patient because there's no other outcome. So it is frustrating, but my faith in spirit and the universal energy leads me to believe that I'm being guided along a certain path. I mean, I was poorly at one of the recent shows, and it was quite busy all around, and I got to a point where I think I got about halfway through the second day and my voice just ceased, and the feeling inside my inner being was, right, that's it, you're done. And it don't matter how you try and push past something, if that's where you're meant to be at that moment, that's where you're meant to be. So it's interesting, like we've all pulled together. So I've learned so much, so many lessons, and the ones that I don't learn, I'm in more situations. See, my big belief is that if we've got a lesson to learn and we're resistant or reluctant, then all spirit will do, all the world will do, is just change the cast member. So essentially, the storyline will play out as it's meant to be, as it's written, but it'll just be the cast member that changes until you get it. You know, you're constantly looking for that aha moment. I get it. And if you don't, guess what? You'll be put in more opportunities to learn. That's what I found. It's done my head in, to be perfectly honest, because I just consider myself just a normal, ordinary bloke that's been thrust into all of this lot. I don't understand how I've got here, to be honest, but I'm very, very grateful that I have. So it's, for me, it's brilliant to be thrown into these slots. And like Ange said earlier on about doing talks and things like that, she'll back me up on this one. Went to Newcastle, and at 11 o'clock in the morning, 50 people stood there hanging on your every word. Now, how do you normalise that? But that's obviously where I'm meant to be and what I'm meant to be doing. So it's just gratitude for me.
I also found a witch in Newcastle.
Well, there's lots of witches in Newcastle, Luke. There's tons of them. You're surrounded by them in Newcastle. It's great.
Also, in a filling station, I see a pattern here.
Oh dear, gas, petrol. Anyway, so who else? And does anybody else want to go with that question? Any words? Any advice from 2022 that has stuck with them that they might want to share?
Don't touch the hot thing; it will hurt.
Okay.
Never eat yellow snow.
Yes. Yeah.
I love all of those little top tips about like putting a piece of string across a paint can when you're painting, so you can wipe your brush on the string instead of the edge. So you don't.
That's such a good idea, and you can rest the brush on it as well.
Exactly. I love those kind of top tips. My favourite advice.
On the page, I used to do a problems of a modern witch, and then when I read it back, it was just times I burnt myself.
Be careful when lighting charcoal discs.
You know, there's a theme with you, Luke. I think I think you were a witch hunter in a past life.
Oh no.
It's very much about finding witches and in petrol stations and now burning yourself, Luke. I think you're going through a cycle.
It's going round and round.
I had to replace my cauldron recently, and I was looking at traditional curved ones, and I just couldn't afford it. So I did what any modern man would do, and I went to Pro Cook, and I walked in, and they went, "Oh, what do you want?" I says, "Can I have a cast iron pot, please?" And they went, "Yeah, what's it for?" I went, "Oh, burning herbs, and I'm going to set fire to it, and I'm going to mix liquid in it," and completely forgot that I was talking to a sales assistant, and they thought I was cooking. And I then just sent them back a picture, which I'll share in the Facebook group if you want, of when I'd put too many charcoal discs into some herbs I was burning, and there's just smoke everywhere, but you can clearly make out the pot. So I went back and went, "There you go, there's a good advert for you."
I know somebody that sells really good cauldrons. Absolutely fantastic. I don't know if she has like big cauldrons, but you might want to speak to Ange from Phoenix Flames.
I can get the big ones. We've actually got a really big cast iron fire pit that can be used as a cauldron, so you can use to cook in it. You can use it as a fire pit. You can use it as a big cauldron, but it's like a big cast iron bowl type thing.
Oh yeah.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. But yeah.
Okay.
We take them to pagan tribal gathering with us.
So the robust.
I've got a slow cooker.
Oh, they're fantastic, Julie. They're fantastic. They work really well.
It's from you, that's right, Angela.
Oh, one of them. Oh, fantastic. Yeah.
If you need one, Luke, I can sort you one out. That's not a problem.
We'll take it off air and see where I'm at.
Yeah.
You can't put the full witch in it then, Luke.
Well, I'm also a Viking and I have many axes, so yeah.
Nothing wrong with a good axe.
Right. Okay. I'm going to move on. If nobody else has got any other,
I've got one, Phil.
Right.
So it wasn't a piece of advice that I got, but it's one that I took on board, that I said that I actually took on board for myself.
Okay.
And it was kind of like a double-edged meaning for me. And it was, never try to be anybody else. You are who you are. And people come to you because of who you are.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Like that. Resonate.
And that, at the time, really sunk in with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with
that. Well, I sit in front of those. I sit in front of those banners with that very statement on. I am who I am. I do what I do. I'm just me. That is my statement. But it's interesting that you talk about people coming to you because of who you are. Some of them don't lead you, do they? Like that one in Nottingham. And had to come and rescue me from somebody in Nottingham that was wanting to take me away from the event, take me home. Quite freaky.
I was debating at the time, shall I leave Rick to it and see how far he actually goes with this woman, or shall I actually go and rescue the poor man and let him get home?
Terrified. Absolutely terrified.
Collectively, though, that is our job, or not job, that's the wrong word. That is our spiritual role. Whatever title we hold is it basically so we can help everybody be the best version of themselves they can be. That is our job.
Yeah. It is exactly that.
But one day I'll be the best version of me.
I don't think that's ever going to happen, though. I think we've always got lessons to learn. We've always got things that we need to achieve and need to strive towards. And once we feel like we've learned a lot, something else jumps up and smacks you in the face and says, "Now you've got to learn this, mate. Get on with it."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I think we'll always go through those cycles, won't we? Of development and learning and uncovering and unlearning, really.
I think some really practical advice that I've had this year is about being that best version of yourself. And because there are actually other versions of yourself that have got different griefs and have different griefs and different traumas, and there's parts of ourselves with us also, as well as our best version of ourselves. So it's really good to be aware of who you are as the best version of yourself and what that feels like, and really nurture and feed and bolster and stabilize that best version of yourself, but also be aware of the last best versions of yourself, and talk to them and see what it is that's hurt them and what they need as well. And you can kind of have like, so this advice that I had was from Jamie Cato, and he's basically suggested that it's good to have like a group meeting with yourself.
Yeah.
Because when the last best versions of ourselves can get triggered with our pains and our griefs, he said that basically that kind of gives an injection to the happy, content, trusting, creative, juicy version of yourself and put you out. You kind of, that part of you goes unconscious, and then you're the traumatized version of yourself. So the best advice that I've had this year is from Jamie Cato, and that was about so having a group meeting with yourself, being aware of the best version of yourself and getting to know who that is and feel who that is.
Yeah,
I think part of the thing with that was that if you spend time consciously and healthily looking at yourself and your own emotions and your needs, then you're less likely to be caught out by surprise by something that would normally trigger you, something that would normally catch you off guard, because you that morning or that week sat and held space for that. It catches you less by surprise when someone else brings that to you, and you're able to react less because you've been acting actively to help yourself and to work on your things. Then when you get caught off guard by it, you react less and you get less caught up in it.
Yeah, because you know where it comes from, but also you can take that part of yourself and spend some time with it and go through a healing process with it as well. So
that's awesome.
That part of you is healed and completely integrates with you as well. So you add to that better self.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
that's phenomenal. That's brilliant. Love that. I'm just going to have a minute to bring that let that soak in, I think.
Yeah, I'm still kind of digesting it myself and working with it as well. Yeah, it's good to think about, because some of us like so some of our suffering can be quite unconscious. We can feel the feelings, but a lot of these things that have given us traumas in the past can be so long ago we've pretty much forgotten it, or we've forgotten the coping mechanism that we developed because of that, and it just becomes like a ghost in the machine.
Yes, yeah.
And also a bit like a pantomime baddie that's kind of, it's behind you, maybe other people can see it, but when we look, we can't ourselves, and it's not that easy.
Like Rick said, you normalize that state that isn't serving you, and you just let it carry on. And when you have that self-awareness, you can make that change. You were talking about that earlier, weren't you, Rick?
Yeah.
You can normalize the healthier part of you as well, because that can get some time to get to know as well.
Yeah, Rick, did you want to say something? Rick, you were trying to say something earlier. I didn't catch what you said, though.
Yes, sorry about that. It was just picking up on what was just being said there. There's something I'm absolutely fascinated with, and learning about how that's broken down. There is the part of your hypnotherapy training is something called parts therapy, which is basically what's being described there, where you deal with who's in charge, who's at the controls at the steering wheel at that moment. And sometimes we have to deal with that, the other sides of our psyche that don't want to stand up, that don't want to be on that front foot. But that's where we keep the trauma. So there'll be some strong part of you that keeps everything together, but they're running a program where they're running so that you're protected, so that they're keeping you away from the danger, or they're keeping you away from the upset. But sometimes we have to let that side of ourselves relinquish the control so that we can. It's like having this sort of meeting. There's going to be different levels of people's energy. There's going to be different strengths within us all, and there's going to be the gobbier ones amongst us that will speak a lot. But sometimes we have to take them to one side and listen to the quieter one, because it might be the quieter one that's actually struggling. And parts therapy absolutely fascinates me. So that's something I would like to look into, because being the ex-prison officer, I'm always looking for the key in that lock that will pop that person's psyche, so you can help them deal with those traumas, you can help them deal with it, and finding a way where they understand you at level that they're going away with a load of fluff and crap in their head. They're going away with something constructive to do to help them enhance. And like we've all said there, be that best version of themselves. Sorry about that. It just sort of all popped in listening.
No, it's all good.
That's brilliant. Thank you, Rick. Thank you for sharing that. I've got one last question, but I'm just going to throw out there a quick one, and I'm going to make it quick because I can see Glenn is really starting to twitch that I've gone over 59 minutes.
Oh, not at all. No, carry on.
So
more work for me. That's all.
So my last question then is, if you could have one wish granted for humanity, what would it be?
Peace.
Ooh.
Peace.
Peace.
That's all I'd like humanity to be at, is just peace.
Yes. Yeah.
And for that, it means getting rid of all that greed, all that corruption, all that war, all that crap that people have to put up with on a daily basis, and just be at peace. And all the bigotry, yeah, and just be at peace.
Yeah.
I would say unity and forming communities where we're all equal. Going on from peace, I would say that, collectives of people coming together, utilizing their skills and sharing those skills and those wisdoms, and just sharing those truths.
Unconditional love, because love is a powerful emotion and the greatest of all. So love for everything and everybody on the planet.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
I'd say true self-awareness.
True self-awareness.
True self-awareness, because without turning this into a debate, I don't feel that peace is ever truly achievable on a global scale. But I feel that if people woke up and were more self-aware from themselves and the people around them, I feel that would help to bring in some kind of unity. Because, like I say, I feel that there will always be friction, because we're human beings. It's always going to happen. But I just feel if people were a bit more self-aware, that would help to bring people together. And that in effect would bring peace. Peace is in regard to war and stuff like that. Yeah, let's have that. But I feel like this utopian idea of peace will never be achievable for the human race, unfortunately. So I just think if we can get more people self-aware, like I say, awakening, if you want to use that phrase, to see things in a different light, I think that would then bring in true change.
See, I don't think peace is achievable by any stretch of the imagination, but that would be my one wish.
Yeah.
Peace. It'd be a long process to get there.
Yeah. Starting with self-awareness.
Within people and within the human race in general.
Perfect.
I think another thing, was it Ange or Julie mentioned, but just the word corruption, if there was less corruption on the planet, and so that there's a chance for growth and flourishment in more harmonious ways.
Yeah.
the ancient ways that have been almost riddled out of the planet. I'd like to see less corruption and more of the ancient ways being able to, that's the ancient ways of the natural ways of being a human in a natural habitat.
Yeah.
And if we all
Definitely.
had the right to experience that would be lovely.
Yeah. Lovely. Anything else? Because that's, I mean, to be honest, that's a perfect way to leave this episode, really, isn't it? But unless anybody else has any last words of wisdom that they'd like to share.
Appreciate the small things.
Yes.
Yeah.
The small things turn into the big things, and the big things turn into the memories. So always appreciate and respect the small things.
Yeah, it's just the same as my grandma used to say, look after the pennies and the pounds and look after themselves. It's the same with the small things. Look after the small things, the big things will turn up.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the guys that sort of set me on this path, without going too morbid on it, was a guy that actually passed away in front of me when I was in hospital, and I was really at the end of my time with the prison service, and I was quite stressed and quite anxious. And he said to me, "Don't sweat the small stuff."
Yeah.
And then 6 hours later, he passed away in front of me, and it for me, it had this effect, this real galvanising effect. And along with another guy that I spent a lot of time talking to, Mr. Timothy, spoke about when you invest your life's hours. Investment should always pay back in some way or another. So the investment in your life's hours, essentially what we're all looking for is that better feeling. So when we've got these sort of minor occurrences, have a look round, take some deep breaths, and as the gentleman said before he passed, don't sweat the small stuff, because the truth is we just don't know what our next moment's going to be. So celebrate what we've got while we've got it, and then when we haven't, we'll deal with that when we get to it. So that's my sort of little word of wisdom, if you like.
I like that. Definitely. If I could expand on that a little as well, I would say to celebrate the now moments that we have in our life, because in those now moments, we can change our life in so many different ways. There's multiple options there. And when we're grounded, when we're present, we can be aware of those options and follow our truth in order to connect with them. So I would say celebrating the now moment.
Yeah. One thing that I'm doing in the new year, one thing that I'm changing about myself, and one word of wisdom, 2 words of wisdom, I don't know, to say yes more and to do things that scare me more. And that's what I'm carrying forward. So
You need to watch that film called Yes Man with Jim Carrey.
okay.
You need to read the book by Danny Wallace. It's a book better by Danny Wallace. I'll lend it to you, Phil.
Okay, real lovely. Thank you, everybody. It has been such a pleasure. It's been a pleasure to see you all again and have you for the Christmas special. We look forward to seeing you again and having you all on again at some point for more episodes and
yes,
hopefully
please.
for some on location stuff as well. So look out for that. If anybody's in one thing that we are doing in April, May time, Glenn, Julie, I don't think we've talked about it properly, have we? But we are thinking about Julie's like, but we are going to go down to Glastonbury. We're going to do an on-location episode in Glastonbury on the high street, talking to people in the shops, talking to people on the street, talking to people at the tour. So if you happen to be down there, then please join us for that. But on that note, I will say Namaste, happy Christmas, blessings at Yule Tide, happy solstice, whatever you're doing, have a fabulous break.
Namaste, Rob. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Love and blessings.
Blessings.
Love and
Merry
blessings.
Christmas.
Thank you for listening and continuing to support the Full Circle podcast. Don't forget to find us on our official Facebook page